In a small town tucked between rolling hills and dense forests, there lived a boy named Ethan. From a young age, Ethan was known for his quiet resilience. He was the kind of child who would rather struggle silently than admit he needed help. To him, asking for assistance was a sign of weakness, a flaw he believed he could not afford. Raised by a single mother who worked tirelessly to keep their little home running, Ethan admired her strength and independence. He watched her fix leaky faucets, balance bills, and face life's challenges head-on. He saw her perseverance and internalized the belief that true strength meant handling everything alone. As Ethan grew older, the alone mentality became his armor. In school, he tackled every assignment, every project, every challenge by himself. If he didn't understand something, he would pore over textbooks late into the night, determined to find the answers. When he stumbled on the soccer field, he would push himself harder, refusing to show pain or disappointment. His teachers praised his dedication, but quietly worried about his reluctance to collaborate. His friends wanted to help, but Ethan always smiled and assured them, "I've got it." One autumn, the school announced a science fair. Ethan's eyes lit up at the prospect, a chance to prove himself. He decided to build a solar-powered water purifier, an ambitious project that required a deep understanding of physics and engineering. He dove into research, spending hours at the library and tinkering in his garage. But as the deadline approached, Ethan hit a wall. The purifier wouldn't work. No matter how many adjustments he made, the water came out cloudy. Frustration mounted, but Ethan kept telling himself, "I can do this. I don't need anyone." The night before the science fair, Ethan sat in his dimly lit garage surrounded by wires, tubes, and instruction manuals. His hands trembled as he tried one last fix, but nothing changed. Exhausted and defeated, he stared at his unfinished project, the weight of his isolation pressing in on him. For the first time, Ethan felt truly alone. It was then that his mother walked in. She saw the mess, the furrowed brow, the silent struggle. She sat beside him and gently asked, "What's wrong?" Ethan hesitated, battling the urge to say nothing. But in that quiet moment, the walls he'd built began to crack. He sighed, letting the words spill out, the confusion, the failures, the fear that asking for help would make him weak. His mother listened, her presence warm and patient. When Ethan finished, she smiled softly. "Ethan, strength isn't about doing everything alone. It takes courage to ask for help. No one succeeds by themselves." Those words echoed in Ethan's mind. With his mother's encouragement, he decided to reach out. The next morning, he approached his science teacher, Mrs. Jensen, and explained his dilemma. Instead of criticism, she offered insight, explaining where the purifier's design had gone wrong and suggesting alternative solutions. Inspired, Ethan sought advice from a classmate skilled in electronics, who showed him how to properly wire the solar panel. Another friend helped him test the water, using a science kit Ethan had never seen before. As he worked with others, Ethan felt a new sense of relief and belonging. The project came together, piece by piece, each contribution making the purifier stronger. When the science fair arrived, Ethan stood beside his completed model, proud not only of the invention, but of the journey, one marked by collaboration and humility. During the judging, Ethan shared the story of his struggle, openly admitting where he had failed and how the help of others had made the difference. The judges were impressed by his honesty and resilience, awarding him second place. But for Ethan, the real prize wasn't the ribbon. It was the realization that he didn't have to walk through life alone. Ethan's experience changed him. He began to see opportunities for connection everywhere. At school, he joined study groups, learning that different perspectives enriched his own understanding. On the soccer field, he celebrated teamwork, passing the ball and cheering for others. At home, he helped his mother and accepted her help in return, their bond growing deeper through shared effort. The fear of asking for help didn't disappear overnight. Sometimes Ethan still felt the urge to tackle problems solo, to retreat behind the familiar shield of independence. But he remembered the lesson. Strength is not just found in solitude, but in the courage to reach out, to admit vulnerability and invite others in. As he grew, Ethan became an advocate for collaboration. He encouraged classmates to ask questions, to seek guidance, to share their struggles. He reminded them that everyone faces difficulties and that true growth comes from connection. In moments of doubt, he recalled the night in the garage, the moment he chose courage over pride. Ethan's story spread throughout the school, inspiring others to overcome their own alone mentality. Students who had been afraid to raise their hands started to speak up, finding support among peers and teachers. Friendship deepened, and the school community became more compassionate, everyone learning from Ethan's example. The change wasn't just academic. One of Ethan's friends, Maya, struggled with anxiety but had always kept it hidden. Seeing Ethan's openness, she found the courage to talk to a counselor, discovering that help was available and that she wasn't alone. Another student, Leo, had trouble at home and feared judgment. Inspired by Ethan, he confided in a trusted teacher, finding resources and understanding. Through these acts of vulnerability and support, the school became a place where asking for help was celebrated, not stigmatized. Teachers encouraged collaboration, reminding students that learning was a team effort. Group projects flourished, and students learned as much from each other as from textbooks. Ethan's journey wasn't unique. Across the world, countless people struggle with the belief that they must face life's challenges alone. The fear of appearing weak, of being a burden, can be overwhelming. But Ethan's story proves that asking for help is a sign of strength, a brave step toward growth, connection, and true resilience. Alone mentality is a heavy burden, but it can be lifted. It begins with a single moment of honesty, a willingness to say, "I need help." From there, doors open, solutions appear, support flows in, and what once seemed impossible becomes achievable. For anyone who feels alone, who fears asking for help, remember Ethan's journey. Strength is not measured by how much you can handle alone, but by your willingness to reach out, to trust others, and to grow together. Life is richer, fuller, and more rewarding when we walk side by side, sharing burdens and celebrating victories together. So if you find yourself struggling, take a deep breath, look around, ask for help. You might be surprised by how many people are ready to stand with you, to lift you up, and to remind you that you never have to face the world alone. In unity, we find strength. In vulnerability, we find courage. And in asking for help, we discover the true power of connection.